Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Staying Home STEAM. I'm Miss Claire with Weeks Public Library, and today we're going to be doing some messy cornstarch science. Are you guys ready? So this is going to be a pretty messy experiment. So you might want to go ahead and grab an apron so we can get started. The first activity that we're going to be doing uses only 2 ingredients, and hopefully these are ingredients that aren't too hard to find at your house. So we've got dish soap, any old dish soap will do, and cornstarch. Okay, so now we add our ingredients. So you can start by taking about a third of a cup of cornstarch, and you can plop that whole thing right in there. Okay, and then we're going to take our dish soap. This is about 1/8 of a cup, but we're going to start by adding just a little bit at a time. And we're going to mix that super well. Okay, so you can see already that it's kind of starting to come together, but I'm going to add some more of my dish soap, and we're going to mix that up. And what we're looking for is like a really smooth kind of Play-Doh-y putty texture. We don't want this one to be too much like slime, although it has a little bit of the squishiness of slime. Okay, and I'm going to add the last little bit of my dish soap. And I might just give it one extra squeeze of the dish soap. Alright, hopefully that'll be enough. Okay, it's really starting to come together. So one thing to remember is that whatever dish soap that you decide to use, that's going to be the color of your cornstarch slime, cornstarch putty. Okay. So as you can see, I just added some more dish soap. So I think it's a little bit more than 1/8 of a cup, but we don't want to go too much because otherwise it will get really, really sticky, and it's not much fun to play with when it's super sticky. So if you need more, just add it a little tiny bit at a time. And as you can see, mine is starting to come together. I've got to keep mixing. Okay, and once yours is kind of clumpy like mine is, the easiest way to keep mixing it is to actually take a plate. If you don't put this on a plate, it's going to be really messy cleanup. And kind of dump it out, and then we can knead it with our fingers. And as I start to knead, you're going to see that this is going to become like a super silky, smooth putty to play with. Unfortunately, this putty won't last a super long time, but it'll last about an hour of playtime. All right, and as you can see, it's now become this really, really fabulous, soft and squishy. It's almost a slime, but it's soft like a putty. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed making that first little squishy, messy oobleck project with us. So now I think we should move on to the second one. All right. So for the second messy science experiment, we're going to be making a classic called oobleck. So for oobleck, all we need is cornstarch and some water. So if you want your oobleck to be a fun color, you can put a little bit of food coloring in it. I'm going to make mine purple, I think, so I'm going to put a couple drops of blue and maybe some red. And you want to mix that right into your water. And as you can see, I have a little tablespoon, so I'll just use that to mix it up to make my purple. All right. So instead of measuring it out for this experiment, it's a little bit hard to get the exact quantities on the first try. So we're just going to put a nice little mountain of cornstarch in our bowl. All right, and we're going to add a little bit of water at a time. So we're going to add a little bit of water and then we're going to mix. So the thing with oobleck is that it gets hard to mix very quickly. So as soon as it really starts to come together, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to mix. So sometimes you just have to put your fingers in the bowl and get them a little bit messy, which is why we're wearing an apron for this project. You might already be able to tell, but it's already kind of sticking. So the very cool thing about oobleck is that most types of matter is what makes up things. You know, I'm made of matter, you're made of matter. Anything that you see around you, like the table or a cat, they're all made of matter. And matter takes different types of forms. So most matter comes in a liquid form, in a solid form, or a gas. So an example of a liquid form would be water. And the solid form of water would be ice. And water even has a gaseous form, which would be steam. So that's pretty cool. We can see all three of those states of matter in just one thing. And you can see that my oobleck is really almost there. So I'm going to mix it for one more second and then we can play. So as you can see, my oobleck looks a lot like a liquid, right? So what does a liquid do? A liquid molds itself to the container that it's in. A gas expands to fill the whole container. So if you have a lid on this, it would expand to fill the whole container that way. And a solid just stays the same size the whole time. You can see this is a solid. It's not going anywhere, right? Okay. This is a liquid, so it's going to shape to whatever shape the container is. But oobleck kind of does both. I can put my hand on it like that, but then also if you go slowly, it moves like a liquid. So it takes some of the properties of different forms of matter and somehow uses both. Isn't that cool? Alright, so I suggest while you're playing with your oobleck, make sure to do it over the bowl because this can be messy, but it is a lot of fun. And one thing that I suggest doing is pick some up if you can. As you can see, it's spilling out of my hand. Try to squeeze it real hard. See what happens. Oh, I don't think I squeezed hard enough. Let's try that again. Alright, let's see. Oh, and it's liquid. But I squeeze it and it goes back to a solid. Thank you to everyone who joined me today for some special cornstarch science. I hope that you have a happy Wednesday and some messy science experiments. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.